Okay. So just to recap from yesterday, so we done the Mishnah we did yesterday at the very end. So we're talking about the southwest corner of the Mizbeach, and said there were three things that were done on the top and three things that were done on the bottom. And so the Chatas Ha'of is done on the bottom. So Chatas Ha'of is done on the top. The blood goes on the bottom, but it's done on the top corner, as well as the libations of the wine and the oil. So Chatas is right. Chatas is done on the bottom. Chatas Ha'of, the bird sin offering, is done on the bottom of the southwest corner, as well as you bring the menachos there, and the leftover blood of karbanos is brought there. On the top, you have the olos, the libation of the wine, libation of the water, and the ola bird offering if they run out of room on the southeast corner. We also had this cryptic statement that said it's kosher anywhere, but this is where it goes. But this is its place by the chatas. And then we also talk about that most times you go up in the Mizbeach, you start on the right side and go around. But you're going up for these three things that are on the top of the southwest, you go directly up to that spot and then turn around and go back down. Not turn around, you walk backwards down. Okay. So now, as usual, the Gemara wants to know, how do we know that? So going through one thing at a time. But how do we know that you're supposed to do the chatas on the southwest corner? The south, yeah. Minani mili. So how do we know that? Amar Rabbi Yeshua. Yeshua says, Amar Kra. The verse says, Lo yasim aleh shemen. It's some of the chatas mincha offering. Do not put oil on it. Lo yitain aleh lavana. Do not put frankincense on it. Ki chatas because it is a sin offering. So chatas kuriya mincha. We say a chatas is called a mincha. Mincha kuriya chatas, and a mincha flour offering is called a sin offering. There's a connection between them. So what do we learn? Ma chatas to netafon. What do we know about a chatas that requires north? Af mincha to netafon. So too the mincha offering must be done in the north. Mincha maravis dromis. Just like a mincha is brought on the southwest corner. Af chatas b'keren maravis dromis. So too the chatas is brought on the southwest corner. Mincha gufa minalad. How do we know the mincha? As you said, we're loading out from the mincha that has to be in the north. How do we know the mincha is in the southwest, in the southwest corner? Tanya, as it says in the Brisa, lifnei Hashem, in front of Hashem. Now the base of Mikdash was such that the Mizbeach was on the east of the Heichal, the building part of the base of Mikdash, which means the western side of the Mizbeach was closest to the Heichal. So it says in front of Hashem, the side that's in front of Hashem is the western side of the Mizbeach. So Yochel b'mar, we might think that means just anywhere on the west. Tamalomer el panei Mizbeach, on the face of Mizbeach. Now we mentioned yesterday, the face of the Mizbeach is to the south. E el panei Mizbeach, which means to the face of the Mizbeach, Yochel b'darim. And maybe you might think you'd bring a carbon to the south. Tamalomer verse says lifnei Hashem, in front of Hashem. How do you meet the two? Kagates, how does it work? Magisha b'keren maravis dromis. You should bring it to the southwest corner. Right at the pointy part of the corner, right at the very edge of the corner. Medayo, that's all you need to do. Gleizer Omer says, Yachol yagishenu l'marava shokeren. You might think you should bring it to the southern side of the corner, or the droma shokeren, or the western side of the corner, or the southern side of the corner. Amart, we have a principle. Kol makom shata motzi shnei mikros. If you have two verses, echad makayim atzmo, makayim chaver. One of them, if you follow it literally, you follow it precisely, then you're able to keep it and also keep another verse. Ve'echad makayim atzmo v'atol chaver. And one of them, it keeps itself, but it nullifies the other verse. So one of them, if you interpret it simply, then you're able to do both at once. The other one, if you interpret it simply, you're not able to do both at once. You set aside the one that fulfills itself and nullifies the other one. Tovsin as shemekayim atzmo mekayim chavera, and take the one that's not contradicted to the other one. So, meaning, as we'll see, we have south and west. One verse says south, one verse says west. So if south might be west and west, or is south more west or is west more south? One of them works both, then it's good. Now you might remember, had probably think a few times already. There's a machlokas where exactly the mizbeach is. So we're about to say that this opinion holds that mizbeach is entirely in the north. So if the mizbeach is entirely in the north, then in front of Hashem, the southern side of the mizbeach is still in front of the doorways to the tent, to the building. I mean, so if you hold that the mizbeach is in the north, then the part that's facing the face of the mizbeach, which is the south, is also still in front of Hashem. If you would hold the mizbeach in the south, you wouldn't say that. Even if you hold it in the middle, you wouldn't say that. If you hold the mizbeach in the north, then the entire south is in front of Hashem. In front of Hashem being by the opening of the heichal of the building. So that'll make what he says here much make more sense. Kisha'ata Omer, as verse said, when you read the verse and it's changed to it should be lifnei Hashem, in front of Hashem, b'marav, in the west. So you bring it on the western side. Heichal kiyamta, how would you fulfill upon name mizbeach, the face of mizbeach? It doesn't work. The west is not the face. The face is the south. Shitame Omer el panei mizbeach, when it says on the face of mizbeach, the dar, which is the south, kiyamta v'nei Hashem, then you fulfilled in front of Hashem. Vidarim, right? Like in the south. By going to the south, it is both the face of the mizbeach and the south. Hold on, I'm missing something. Open Hashem. So Kishato Omer l'bnei mizbeach b'darim kiyamta l'bnei Hashem b'darim. Right, you're still able to fulfill in front of Hashem in the south. Heichen kiyamta. How did you fulfill it? How is it that you fulfilled it? What makes the southern side in front of Hashem? So Ravashi says several high time. This Tana holds the entire mizbeach in the north. So even the southern side is in front of Hashem. You know the door of the heichal is 10 amos. So the time mizbeach is the north. When you're south of mizbeach, you're still in those 5 amos on the southern side of the doors. You're still in front of Hashem. So far, so good. Okay, next one. It says this cryptic phrase. It's kosher everywhere, but this is its spot. What does that mean? So my comment. What does it mean? Amar Rav Ashi, this is what it's trying to say. It's kosher anywhere in the mizbeach. For doing the I can't say slaughtering because malika is not slaughtering; it's with a thumb, but the equivalent of slaughtering. But this is a place where the blood goes. So you can do it anywhere, but this is where the blood goes, and since that's where the blood goes, that's where you should slaughter it. That means our mission taught what it says in the Brisa. If you did the malika anywhere in the mizbeach, that is kosher. He's a dama b'kol makom kashera. If you sprinkle the blood anywhere, it's kosher. I will see what that means exactly. It doesn't mean anywhere, but it's kosher. He's a velo mitzah. If you sprinkle the blood but did not squeeze it, kashera, it's still kosher. So by the chatas, there's a mitzvah to both sprinkle it and also to squeeze the blood out of it. So if you skip the mitzvah of squeezing it, you still the obligation to bring the chatas. As long as you're singing the blood below the line. From the dam of the soul, meaning that the beginning of the blood has to go below the line on the bottom half. As long as that happens, then it's okay. Now that sounds like an contradiction. It says you can put the blood anywhere, and then it says it has to go below the line. My kamar, what is it trying to say? This is what it's saying. Malka b'kol makom b'mizbeach kasher. You did the malika anywhere in the mizbeach, it is kosher. Mita dama b'kol makom mizbeach kasher. If you squeeze the blood anywhere on the mizbeach, shim hiza v'lo mita kasher. Because if you sprinkle and did not squeeze it, it's still kosher. So even if you squeezed it in the wrong spot, it's still kosher. Because if you never squeeze it at all, it's kosher. As long as the blood of the soul goes in the bottom half, once you've done that, whatever you do with the rest of it doesn't matter in terms of the kashrus of it. It matters in terms of the mitzvah. You're not allowed to just squeeze it on some random spot. You have to squeeze on the bottom half, but it doesn't matter in terms of the kashrus status of it, because once you've sprinkled it, once you've done the first, let the first not sprinkling, you let the first spurts of it go on the bottom half. You've now fulfilled the obligation part of it, the the part that's ma'akeh, the part that keeps it from being kosher, that's done. It's kosher. What else you do does not matter for the kashrus. So you still have a mitzvah to do it right, but it's, you're not going to mess it up from now on. Okay, continuing. Shlosh Devarim, there are three things done on the bottom, on that corner, three things done on the top. Chata Ze'of, when the Chata Ze'of is done on that corner, Hada Alma, we mentioned it already. Vagashus, and the bring close to the Mizbech, which you also talked about earlier today, but still it's going to recap that. The Pasuk says, Vigisha El Panei Mizbech, where El Vigisha El Mizbech, and bring it to the Mizbech. As we said earlier, we proved that goes on the southwest corner. Shari Dam, leftover blood. The Ksiva, it says, it's much earlier in the Masechta. That's Kol Dam Par Yishpoch El Yisod Mizbech. You should pour out the blood on the foundation of Mizbech. Foundation that's closest when they're done sprinkling the chatas to the southwest corner. So then you put the rest of the blood on the southwest corner. Because we don't pass by mitzvahs. So we said earlier that when you finish the sprinkling with the chatas, you climb up the ramp. You start from the southeast, northeast, southwest. South, northwest. Sorry, southeast, northeast, northwest, southwest. Then you come down the ramp. The closest corner to you is the southwest corner. So that's what you do. You don't pass by to find a farther corner. Because you're coming down the ramp in the southwest, so you go to the southwest corner, pour out the blood. Milmala, the three things done on top. Nisach hamayim, the libation of the water, vayayin, and the wine, v'oz the oaf, and the ola bird offering of the oaf, kishi rabba mizrach. When there's not enough room on the southeast corner, then do it in the southwest. My time, and what's the reason for that? Rabbi Yochanan Omer, Rabbi Yochanan says, that it is, well, this is asking specifically about the ola of the bird offering. Why is this a second choice? Why is the southwest corner the second choice for the ola bird offering? And so it is closest to the base of deshin. The base of deshin is where they would put the ashes. Every morning they're supposed to take a shovelful of ashes, place them next to the mizbeach, and this is a corner that's second closest to that. When the southeast corner is too full, this is the second choice. It's the closest after the southeast corner, as we'll see shortly where exactly that spot is. Omar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, Ba'urei kama gadol kochan shogan. Just see how strong you have to be a kohen. Just, the kohanim were exceptionally strong. She'ein kalba over. There's no lighter matter in a bird, yosef b'mora v'notza, except for the crop with the feathers on it. So what they would do on the birds eat from right. They're wild birds, eat from anything. They're able to fly. They don't respect people's property boundaries. Mm-hmm. So birds steal out people's crops. So Torah says you put the entire bird on the mizbeach except for the intestines. So you're supposed to basically cut a hole in the bird where the intestines are, and then put that entire thing, including the feathers, on the intestines. That all is not put on his back. What is that done? What do you do with it? You throw it from the corner of his back where you slaughtered the bird, did malik on the bird, to this spot, which you see exactly what it is shortly. The Trumas Hadesh, the spot where you put the Trumas Hadesh, the spot where you put the ashes every morning. And we'll see that's pretty far, right? So they have nothing. And so, first of all, what they're throwing, these intestines with the feathers, is very light. You throw something light, it doesn't go very far. You try to throw a piece of paper. You can't throw a piece of paper. Right. If you crumble on a ball, maybe you could, but without it being crumbled up. So you have these this piece of the bird is not easy to throw very far.
Low mass.
Low mass surface area. Yeah, the terminal velocity is pretty low, so you have to have a lot of strength to get it to still be traveling when the air resistance hits it. Just many more. So, palm, there are times that Kohen Zorkan Yosem Shloshim Amma. Yeah, there are times the Kohen has to throw it more than 30 amos. So 30 amos is 45 feet at least. So at times you have to throw this little light thing 45 feet. Treasure throw a piece of paper 45 feet. You have to be exceptionally strong to be able to do that. You have enough energy that the air resistance won't take over in 45 feet. They were able to do it. Yeah. How do we know that? Tanan, it says in the Mishnah, Nato Machta Shel Kas. It takes a silver pan, goes up to the top of his back, and you push aside the coals to one side or the other. And you dig out from the inside most most well eaten, literally, coals, meaning the coals that are most closest to burn out, the Yored, he goes down, and Gilevich, when he get down all the way to the bottom of the ramp, Maxir Panav Klape Tzaf, when he turns around on the ground next to the ramp, on the northern side, the Holech, so he turns his face north, the Holech and the Mizrachu Shokevesh, and walks on the eastern side of the ramp, Keser Amos, 10 Amos in the ramp. So if you do the math, the ramp is 32 Amos, he walks 10 Amos, and so now he's 22 Amos away from the edge of the Mizbeach. In particular, he's next to the ramp. The ramp is 16 Amos wide. The Mizbeach is 32 Amos wide, which means if he's next to the ramp, he's 8 Amos away from the corner from the southeast corner, and he's 22 Amos away from the wall of Mizbeach. And Tabar Segahalim, he piled up the coals al Gabe Ritzba on the ground, Rachum and Akevish, distant from the ramp, shows you Tevachim. He's 3 Tevachim away from the ramp. So now, if it's 8 total, and he's 3 Tevachim away, which is half an Amma, he's now 7.5 Amos from the corner, and 22 Amos away from the, so 7.5 west of the corner, and 22 Amos south of it. Now we're going to do the math. So if he's right, let me just read it. Makom shenosim at the same spot. That spot. There are 3 things you do there. Shenosim, more of a note. So you put the intestines and the feathers, and the ashes from the inner mizbeach, the menorah, and from the menorah. There's 4 things that go in that spot. So the daily shovel of ashes from the outside mizbeach, the ashes of the inside mizbeach, the ashes of the menorah, and this intestines piece. Now let's do some math. So you're 22 Amos south of the corner, right? And then we said so normally you do it in the southeast corner. Southeast corner, you're about 7.5, and by 22, Pythagorean theorem 7.5 by 22, you get something on the order of 25 or so. I actually didn't do the math on that one ahead of time, but normally it's only about 25 Amos you have to throw it. But if it's sometimes when you run out of room on the southeast, then you do it in the southwest. Southwest, it's your 8 plus 16 is 24, but you're not standing on the corner, obviously. So you're in the corner, so it's only about 22 by 22. Right? If you're standing next to the corner, you're 22 by 22 away. Right? 22 by 22 comes out to be around 31. As we're going to see, it's 22.5 by 22. Pythagorean theorem comes out a little over 31. So you said it's more than 30. Someone asks, Bahani plus and Tfemi plus and Vachanavi, and it's more than 31. We said it's more than 30, it's even more than 31. So why does it say more than 30 Amos if it's even more than 31 Amos? Well, answers Makom Gavri Lo Chashiv. It's not counting the place where the person is, meaning you have to subtract in addition the place where he himself is. Sort of, arms read, I think. So then he only has to throw it 30 or so. It's not counting his own spot. He's from where he's standing, he has to throw it 30. But it's actually the total distance of traveling is a little more than that. But the part he has to throw is 30. Okay, it's more than 30. So fine. Continues. So my timer. So now we're going on why is it this corner? Before we're talking about just what exactly, we're talking about why the Ola is right. We said why is the Ola on that one? Now we're saying what's the reason? Why did the Torah say it should be here? Not how do we know, but why is it here? So Amar Rabbi Yochanan says Nesachim, the libations. So sorry, we're asking why you go straight directly to the corner. Why do you go around to get here? Not why do you do it here? Why do you go directly to the spot instead of going all the way around? Normally you go up, you go all the way around, come to that spot. Here you do directly to that spot and come back down from there. So why is that? So you call on the Anyone I skipped those words. Anyone who goes up on the Mizbeach goes around except for these, they go straight to the spot. So my time, why do you go straight to the spot? Rabbi Yochanan said in the Sachim, the libations, Shemiz Ashnu, because they might get smoked up and not be kosher. V'ola sa'of, and it comes to the bird ola offering, Shema tamus ba'ashan, maybe it will die from the smoke. For Binu, we challenge it. Balo hakatam the Kohen Gadol. When the Kohen Gadol comes to go around the mizbeach, as the mizbeach, how does he start? Mikaren Jerome's Mizrachis from the southeast corner. Then he goes to Mizrachis Tzivonis, the northeast. Then goes to Tzivonis Maravis, the northwest. Marvis Dromis, and he goes to the southwest. Vinoslo Yain Nasin. Then we give him the wine to libate. Which apparently libate is not actually a verb, but to offer libation. To Amar Rabbi Yochanan says so. We see that he doesn't need to go directly up. He can walk around and he just hand it to him. It says a hakafa berego. So
the bird is not dead at this point.
Not.
Well, it was worried in the case of they might absorb smoke in it.
Right.
In the case of
the wine and the water, and the bird, all of them might get smoky and then not be valid. The bird could die. The wine or water would be not valid.
Yet.
Right. You do the malika on top.
Okay.
So you see where the Kohen Gadol, he walks around.
Right.
So no, a kava beregel. That means he just walks around with his feet. Meaning he's doing a mitzvah walking around, but it's not really part of the service. He doesn't have the wine in his hands. They hand him the wine when he gets to the corner. But the wine is not going all the way around. Amar Rav said, Dika Nami, we have a dik. You can see that, that's right. Dikatani nos no yain lo nasim. We give him wine to pour. Lokatani omer lo nasim. We don't say tell him to pour. We hand him wine so he can pour it. The wine doesn't make a trip around. Just he himself does as a mitzvah to walk around, but he doesn't actually bring the wine with him. Shmamina, we see from there that we're right. That it's just walking around, not with the wine. Tanur Banan, the rabbis taught. Kollel mizbeach, anyone who goes around the mizbeach, Olin derech yamin, he goes up on the right. Yornei derech small and comes down the left. Olin derech mizrach, he goes up on the east. Yordan derech marav, goes down on the west, which is the same thing. Just try me. Chutz min ha'olah l'shos devarim halal, except for someone who goes up for these three things. Shalom derech marav, go up on the west. Yordan derech marav, go down on the west. Because you're walking directly up the corner, coming backwards from the corner. Olin derech yamin, Yordan derech yamin. You go up on the right and come down on the right. So when do we go up on the right and come down the right? Derech smolowitz on the left side, because the south it's the left. What do you mean go on the right and come down on the right? Amar Ravina says Tani small. You should say left. Change it to say left. It's a mistake. It says go up on the right and come down on the right, but he says all to the south. It should say go up the left, coming down on the left. Rama says my yamin. What does it mean on the right? Yamin mizbeach. It means the right of the mizbeach. My small. What does it mean small? Small the gavra on the left of the person. So when it says go up on the right, it means the right of the mizbeach. When it says the left, it means the left of the person. So it means the same thing. So right. But initially, why are we changing reference? Either way, you should compare the mizbeach. The gavra. Or either way, you should say the person. Why is it switching its frame of reference? Kasha. That's a good question. It's not such a the general one says kasha means it's a good question. We're not willing to recant based on this question. There's a way out of it, but we don't have a good way out of it. So we have a way out, but not a good way. And it's not a super strong question, but it's a question we have no answer to. So yeah, good question, no answer, but we're not recanting because of it. Okay. Mishnah says, Chatas of Ketzad. How do you do the chatas of the bird offering chatas? Ketzad nasis. How is it done? So it says Hayam Molik es Rosha Mu'orif Orpa. You should do the thumb thing, cut its neck from the back. The Enu Mavdil, do not separate, do not go all the way through. We'll see shortly what it means. You don't all go all the way through. Umazmi Devan, sprinkle from its blood on the Al-Kir Mizbeach, on the wall of Mizbeach. Shayadam, the leftover blood, Hayam Ismatzeh, would drip down Al Yisod on the foundation. The only thing of it that's put on the Mizbeach is blood. The entirety of the bird is given to the Kohanim to eat. There's no fats, nothing is put on his back except for the blood. As opposed to any animal carbon, there's always something put on his back. On the chatas, there's nothing of the flesh that's put on his back. Tanrabanan, the rabbis taught. Vehiza midama chatas. So it says sprinkle the blood of the chatas, migufa chatas, directly from the bottom. body. As opposed to an animal, you take the blood from the neck into a vessel, catch the blood spurting out of the neck in a vessel, and bring the vessel to his back and put the blood from the vessel onto his back. The bird, you don't use a vessel, it goes straight from the body of the bird onto the mizbeach. Which is part of why we have to do it right on top there. You have to do it at the on the mizbeach, because it's not you're not gonna have time to walk. If the blood starts spurting, you're not going anywhere.
Not much blood.
Also not, right. But it's saying it's direct. You're not catching the vessel and bringing it, going straight from the body to mizbeach. It has to be the blood of the soul, which means those first spurts of blood. So you have to be right at the corner in order to slaughter it, in order to make sure it makes it. So Kate said, how do you do that? Oches barosh, you hold on to the head of the goof and the body, because on the bird you do not separate the head from the body. And sprinkle on the wall of the mizbeach. Not on the side of the ramp. Not on the wall of the building. Not on the wall of the inside part of the building. It just says al kir, which wall? The wall of the mizbeach. Which wall is that? Zek kir hatachton. This is the lower half of the mizbeach. Oh, maybe it's the top half. How do you know it's the top half? Could be the bottom half. It could be the top half. And we've logic would tell us it should be the top half. It didn't. Isn't it logical? It should be the top half. How do we know? What do we know about behema? The ola offering of an animal is on the bottom half. Still chatasa, because the sin offering lamala is on the top half. If a bird that's even holier, even the bird offering goes on top. Isn't it logical that the sin offering goes on the top half? Right? When it comes to the animal, where the ola is on the bottom, the chat is on the top. Where the ola, even the ola is on top, for sure the sin offering should be on top. Verse says, the leftover blood should drip down onto the foundation. So what does that mean? It means kir, you have to use a wall, that the leftover blood goes down onto the foundation. That's the bottom one. Because if you do it on top of the walk around, the blood won't get down to the foundation, because it'll have to go down to the walk around. So if it goes on top, it won't make it. So it have to be the blood that the vestiges will go down to the bottom. This is here. This is the lower wall. But navmi elai, why don't you do it above? And then do it on the bottom. Why don't you do the two separate times? Do it on the top and then let the leftover blood go down to the bottom. Amar Rava. Rava says, Mikasiv Yimate. It doesn't say let it drip it onto it. Yimat. So Yamse. It doesn't say Yamse, which means you do it. Yimate. It's passive. It drips down. It goes down by itself. See, that's what it says. Jamil all by itself. Mashma, it's implied. It implies all by itself. This verb is not an active verb on the part of the Kohen. It's just passive. Let it come down by itself. Amar Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia. Amar Rav. Zutra says the name Rav. Ketzan Moken Chatas Ov. How do you do the malika on the bird? Oches Gapav. You hold its wings. Bishtei etzvos with two of your fingers. That Bishtei Ragla Bishtei etzvos, and use the two legs with two of your fingers. So using basically your left hand to hold it. You sort of pin it. You pin the wings. Pin the
wings against the body.
So this is all in the right hand. So you have this is I think it's all in the right hand. So you have your two fingers for the two wings. That's the pinky and the first finger. Two fingers for the two legs. So you're spreading it out like that. And you spread its neck across his two fingers. I'm not sure exactly how that's physically done, but you stretch his neck across your two fingers, and then you use your thumb to slaughter it. So you have to hold it, just exactly the right way so your thumb can reach. They had kept the thumbnails extra long, but you had to hold it just right. So you're pinning it, it's pinning its limbs, so it's not fluttering around, and also you have to use your thumb and slaughter with it. This is the hard job in the base of Mikdash. It's very challenging. Where it says Zuhi, this is the hard job, Vasulo, and that's it. This is the only hard job in the Mikdash. Vaika Kamitza, we say that the Kamitza was taking the handful of flour.
This is just done with one hand.
Yeah, just done with one hand. It's very hard.
Yeah.
So, but this is the only hard thing. Kamitza taking the handful of flour. It also says that's hard. The chafina and also the taking the handfuls of the ketoris, where you have to do 2 handfuls and take 2 handfuls of it and put it into a pan where you only have 2 hands. Right? You have 2 handfuls in a pan. You have to. That's also, let's say that's a hard job. So what do you mean? This is a hard job? There's multiple hard jobs. This is a hard job. Of the hard jobs of the Mikdash. It's one of the hard jobs, but not the hard job. One of the hard jobs. Okay, Mishnah. Ola Sa'of, the bird offering, Ola, Ketza Nasis. How is it done? Ola Lakevish, you went up to the ramp. The fun of the Sa'of, if you went up to the walk around. Balo Lakaren Dromis Mizrachis, go to the southeast corner. Haimolik es Rosha, you would cut its neck. Nimul Arpa from the back. Mavdil, and you'd separate, you go all the way through. Separate the head from the body. Mitza es Dama, Akim Mizbeach, and squeeze out the blood on the wall of Mizbeach. Notas the Rosh, you take the head. The Kikiv base Malika Mizbeach, and bring the place of the slaughtering, not slaughtering, but the Malika, to Mizbeach, put it directly, the head directly onto the wall of Mizbeach. Right, you put it directly in there. Sofna b'melach, you cover it in salt. V'zarko al gabi ishim, and put it onto the fire. Balo legufa, when it comes to the body, v'siris amura v'nesanot. So you take out the intestines with the feathers on it. So the crop with the intestines together, with the feathers, all that together. V'shlich on the base of and throw it onto the spot where you put the ashes. Shisa, you split it open, v'lo hivdil, and you do not separate. So you cut the body in half, but don't actually go all the way through. Just sort of open it up. Cut the body down the middle, open it up. V'im hivdil, but if he did accidentally go all the way through, kosher, it's still kosher. Mitzvahs to not separate it more, separate the body in half. But
is he still doing this with his finger, with his thumb?
No, I think this he can use a knife. The only thing, the actual slaughtering it has to be done with a thumb. But the rest of it, he can use a vessel for it. Fine. So he did kosher. He separated. It's okay. Sofner malach. He covers it in salt. And throws it onto the fire. Lo hisir semor v'lo. If he did not take out the crop and the feathers, and not the intestines, so yotzim imam, they come with them. Lo sofner malach. Not put salt on it. Kol shishina ba. Anything that he changed it. Mi achar shemitza es dama. After you squeeze the blood, kasher, it's still kosher. Once you put the blood on it, that is the only thing that is actually ma'akev, that he holds back. Everything else is a mitzvah, not allowed to skip it. But anything that he skipped after he already squeezed the blood does not impact the kashrus of it. He just missed out on the mitzvah of doing that particular thing. It's not optional, but it doesn't hold it back. Hivdil b'chatas, if he separated with a bird offering, with a sin offering, went all the way through. And if he did not go all the way through the neck with the burnt offering, puzzle, that would mess up either of those. Mitzvahs dama rosh, if he squeezes the blood of the head, lo mitzvah dama neguf, but not squeezes the blood of the body, psula, that is not kosher. Dama guf, he squeezes the blood of the body, lo mitzvah dama rosh, and not squeezes the blood of the head, kisher, it is kosher, he missed out on a mitzvah, it's obligatory, but it does not impact the kashrus of it. Chatas oaf, if the bird sin offering, Shemal Koshlo Shema, that he brought it with the proper intention on it. He thought it was an Ola when he did it. Or Mitzah Dama Shlo Shema, squeeze out the blood with improper intention on it. Or the Shema Shlo Shema, or with a proper and the improper intention is the other. Or Shlo Shema with the Shema, or the other order, first the improper and then the proper. Puzzle, it is puzzle. By a sin offering. By a burnt offering, it's still kosher. As we're about to see, Olos Oaf Kasher, if he's a burnt offering, it is kosher. Also, it doesn't count. Same thing we said by an animal. Right back to the first chapter. If you had the wrong intention by a non-sin offering, then the sacrifice is kosher, but it does not count. The difference is you can still put when you realize it, you can still put the body in the mizbeach, because it's a burnt offering. With a sin offering, it's not even kosher. If you did it with the wrong intention, you just get rid of it, dispose of it. It does not put on the mizbeach at all. Echad chatzah ze'of, the chatzah ze'of, the echad olah ze'of, and the bird offering, the bird are one and the same. Shemalkan, that the malika v'shemitzas daman, or you squeezed out the blood. Lechol davar, to eat in part jidark lechol, that you normally would eat. Hakti davar jidark hakti, or to burn, burn, turn into smoke. A part that you normally put into smoke, put on the mizbeach. Chutz hamachal, intention of doing it in the wrong place. Pasul, it is pasul. It's not kosher. But if someone would eat it, they do not get a punishment of kares. If you did a chutz zmanu with the intention of in the wrong time, eating at the wrong time, burning it on the mizbeach in the wrong time, the pigul, as it starts to pigul, if a of kares, someone who would eat it right away gets a punishment of kares. But on condition, that you brought everything else that permitted it according to proper mitzvah. Kate said, how does it work? Kate said, the mitzvah. So, how does it work that you brought everything else in the proper way? Malak b'shtika, he did the malika with silence, without saying anything, which means, and without saying, not saying anything is good. Mitzvah adam, and he squeezed the blood, chutz zmanu, intention at the wrong time. Malak chutz zmanu, did the malika with the wrong time in mind. Mitzvah adam, and he squeezed the blood b'shtika in silence. Malak mitzvah adam chutz zmanu, did everything. He did the malika, did the squeezing, all of it went to the intention of the wrong time. So that's called, he brought everything that permits it in the proper way, meaning there's no other problem with it. Doesn't mean it was proper, it was all improper potentially, but there's no secondary intention that would invalidate it. As we saw, the same thing we saw in an animal, as long as the chutzlim zman in the wrong time is the only wrong intention on it, then it is kosher. If there's any other wrong intention that would invalidate it, then the fact that it's outside the proper time, intent for outside the proper time, doesn't matter. It's already invalid anyway. It's not invalid because of the intention of the improper time. Therefore, there would not be a punishment of kares for eating it. The only time there's a punishment of kares for eating it is when the only problem is that it was had the improper time. It has to be kosher enough to be a problem. But if it's 100% kosher except for the improper time, that's when it has to be glot trip. It has to be glot trade. If it's half trade, no, there's no cars. It has to be certified shlo lishma, which is not lishma. Shlo lishma outside the proper time for it to be kares. Anything else wrong with it, it will not be kares. So the two options. Did it with the proper intention, did it with the wrong time intention, then it's kares. Any other intentions that are not proper, not the wrong time, is going to mess it up, which will make it better. That will not be a punishment of kares, as we'll see right now. So he did everything right. Ketzad, how does it work? Lo karim mati mitzvah. So that's what we're up to, right? Yeah. Zehu, this is karim mati mitzvah. So that's called you did everything else properly. And the only wrong intention is the time. That's called you did everything else properly. Ketzad lo karim mati mitzvah. So what's the case? We did not bring everything according to the proper intentions. Malak chutzim kama did the malika part, the slaughtering outside with the wrong place in mind. Mitzvah adam chutzizmanu, he squeezed the blood with the wrong time in mind. Shemal chutzizmanu did the malika with the wrong time in mind. Mitzvah adam chutzim kama, and he squeezed out the blood with the wrong place in mind. Shemal mitzvah adam chutzim kama, or you did everything. You did the malika and the squeeze of blood with the wrong place in mind. Or chatas oaf, the bird sin offering. Shemak l'shlo shma, that you did the malika part with the wrong intention. I think that's an ola. Umitza dam chutzimano, and you did squeeze out the blood with the wrong time in mind. Shemak chutzimano did the malika with the wrong time in mind. Umitza damo shelo shma, and he squeezed the blood with the wrong kind of carbon in mind. Shemak umitza dam shelo shma, or you did the malika and squeezed the blood with the wrong kind of name of carbon in mind. So there's something else you did wrong besides the fact that it's in the wrong time. You did something else wrong with it. So this is called you did not bring what permits it in the proper way. He said, I'm going to eat one gazais outside the proper place, one gazais tomorrow. Or the opposite, I'll eat one gazais tomorrow, and one gazais outside. I'll eat half a gazais outside and half a gazais tomorrow. Half a gazais tomorrow and half a gazais outside. Puzzle, that is puzzle, the aim karis. There's no karis, since again there's a wrong intention on it. So I had both intentions, outside and time. There's both intentions. You don't have a singular kazayas that's for the wrong time. It's going to be puzzle for sure, but there's no karis on it. Amar Yeshua argues and says, this is the rule. And we saw the same thing earlier in the Sefta. If the intention for the wrong time was the first thing that invalidated before the intention of the wrong place, that would still be pigul. It's called pigul v'chayiv malav karis, and it would be karis from it, since the first thing that invalidated it was outside the time. It's permanently labeled outside the time. No other thing you do afterwards that invalidate it will make it worse, or which is better, which is less severe, right? Mishav is a makom kadmon Mishav is man. The intention of the wrong place comes with the intention of the wrong time. Then it's possible in makaris. There's no karis on it. It does not. Once it's outside the karis, it can't come back. The Rabbi say no. Zev is possible in makaris. Both of them are possible, and there's no karis. What if he's
bad? Do it really bad.
Yeah. So lachol kahatzizayis. What if he's planning on eating one half of kazayis with haktir kahatzizayis, and he's going to burn one half of kazayis? Kosher, that is kosher. That the eating and the burning do not add together. So even though he has intention to do a full kazayis in the wrong place, nevertheless, since I should say improperly in the wrong time, but since it's only half kazayis of each kind of eating, human eating and mizbeach eating, those do not add up together, and therefore it will be puzzle. It will not even puzzle at all. It'll still be kosher. Okay, I have another minute. Should we start a little bit more? 44. Okay, we'll do a little bit more. Taner banan. It says in the Brisa, v'hikrivo, and you should bring it. Ma'atam alone. Why does it bring it? The verse says, v'hikriv minatorium o mini b'nei ayona. Should bring from the turtle doves, from the young doves. Yacholam is not of. And you might think, because it says plural, bring from the young turtle doves and from the young birds, plural, young doves, plural. Yahu, you might think, it's not someone who voluntarily brings a bird. Though if it was mishnei freedom, you might think you have to bring two individual birds, can never bring one. Tamalam of hikrivo, bring it, afilo achas yavi. You can even bring a singular bird. Okay, elam is back, bring it to them is back. Matam, what does it tell us? So Matam Hakon, what does it say? The Kohen should bring it. Like Kohen, it says it has to be a Kohen. Shiyachol, you might think Valodinu, it's logical. A Ma Benson, just like we know about it, what do we know about a sheep? Shekava lo tzafon, it has to be in the north. Lo kava lo Kohen, does not have to be a Kohen. Of shelo kava lo tzafon, a bird that does not have to be in the north is not as stringent. Eno din isn't logical, shelo geek for lo Kohen, that for sure that you have to be a Kohen, that you should not need a Kohen. Tamalomo el Kohen, you bring it to a Kohen, like lo Kohen. You bring it to a Kohen, there has to be a Kohen who does the Malika. Okay, we'll stop there. We're still in the middle of a Brisa, but that's still at least done with a drasha. So we're up to Yachol Yimalkin. You might think he used a knife. That's the next line. And I'm not sure if I'll be back here tomorrow or Rabbi Gleizer. We'll see how he's feeling. He's getting back very late tonight.
Oh,
one of us will be here.
oh,
Yeah.